Yeah. Okay, so before we get officially started with 22, we'll talk about my history with Madden in general, because it's Madden is one of the longer running computer series out there. It's not the longest, but it is one of the longer ones because it did start. What it was the first Madden game was released in 1988, the summer of '88, I think it was. So it's been out for a few years. So what I did today was, come on, I went and yes, I still have my original game boxes and stuff, like that one. Dun, dun, dun. I can't go back. Here, we will redo this. There we go. Anyway, so for those unfamiliar, John Madden Football originally came out in, I want to say, June or July of 1988. This was there were no real consoles at the, well, yeah, I guess there were, but this originally came out on the Apple II only when it first came out. It almost looked like Gimpy's a fan. Well, I was a fan originally. I was a fan for Madden for many years. To be honest, I was. And it just, we're getting to that point. And click some. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. But anyway, that's the actual, that's the original box that I bought back in '88. And its main claim to fame at the time was it was the first football simulation computer game that had 11 play. It was 11 versus 11 players, because all the previous football games before then, didn't matter what the whether it was PC, console, or arcade or whatever. I'll actually take that back. There was an arcade game that actually did have 11 versus 11, but it was X's and O's and was only in the arcade. But for as far as computer games go that you played at home, it was the first one that did 11-11, because it was either 3-on-3, 5-on-5, that kind of stuff, or maybe 7-on-7. But nobody had done 11-11 at that time. And not only did it do that, you could design your own plays. You could rename and customize your characters with stats and that kind of stuff. So it was, it was ahead of its time at the time. The graphics were, 1988 quality, nothing special there. But as far as what it did, it was, the first of its kind, or at least the best of its kind at the time. Again, that's the cover. Dum, dum, dum. How many hours did my brother and I put into that game? I don't know. That's the back, basically. Sorry for the fuzziness of the picture. My arms are a little shaky today for whatever reason. But that's the back of the cover. You can see all the qualities of it was, blah, blah, blah. You can sort of see what the graphics are like. Again, nothing special. But again, we played the shit out of that game. And you could do, I think you could do you could do 1v1. You could actually play against stuff. Oh, and here's the best part. Back in the 80s, we actually had stuff that came with video games. This is everything that was in the box. On the left-hand side, we've got the little dial wheel, which was the who won. We split it pretty evenly for the most part. It depended on who had what controls, because when you played 1v1, one person had to use a little joystick that was not the best at the time. It was, the best that we could, well, it wasn't even the best that we could at the time, but these little joysticks that you used to get for like Apple IIs and stuff. And then the other person could use the keyboard. And the person who usually had the joystick usually won. Yes, the decide. Well, it's a copyright wheel. It's the copyright wheel. You spin it, it tells you to go what page or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, that's the copyright wheel. And then the two discs on the left, those are 5 1/4 floppies. Yes, 5 1/4 floppies. The black label one, that's the main game. And the second one, that is DLC, aka, it's DLC from 1988. Actually, no, it was 89, actually, because that disc didn't come out until 89. Yeah, 5 1/4 floppies. And the floppy was, again, it's basically the DLC of the time, where it's just, all it is the rosters of all the teams for 1987, 1988. And I think it might have included some custom plays for each team, I think. I can't really test it out anymore because, I don't think the disc will work at this point. But anyway, And then you've got the little what is it? The command summary card, which is basically just the short version of how to do commands. And then right behind that is the black and white cover of the actual manual. That's probably a good, I'm going to say, centimeter thick, about a quarter of an inch or so. Lots of material in there. And then to the right of that is extra stuff. This is actually all the plays for the offense and the defense. You can just flip through the pages and find them that way if you want. Spinning during usage. Yep. So anyway, that's everything that came with it. Not including the response card where you send it back. Oh, and this is actually made this John Madden Football was published by Electronic Arts. Just so you know, Electronic Arts was back around still then, was originally around back then. So, and they actually sent those, response cards where you fill out these little postcards, postage paid for you, and just fill out information and stuff like that. So they send crap to you. So there's that. Oh, and then on to, we'll make a jump ahead in time to about 20 years. So this is 2009. This is will be the 2009 version of Madden. They put out this little special collector's edition, Madden 20 years later type stuff. This is for the Xbox 360. Basically, my brother and I, we both got this. He was living in Arizona at the time, or he still is actually. But we both had Xboxes, so we did this. We spent a number of hours playing this over the internet through the Xbox. So kind of cool, that kind of stuff. But this was a nice thick box for the collector's edition. You actually got 2 games out of it. You got Madden 2009, and then you also I think this was the first try at head coach, which was not included in Madden then. I think they might have incorporated into later versions, but Madden 09 is basically kind of what we're playing today, except we're playing the 22 version. But head coach was more of a manage the team type deal. You didn't actually play the game with your players. You basically were the head coach. You called the plays and made substitutions and trades and all that kind of fun stuff. The more fun part of football, to tell you the truth. Other than just watching stuff play, there's more in depth. So that was kind of cool. So more than 2. Yeah, well, we'll talk about that in a second too. Anyway, so and there's 3 discs. There's again Madden 2008, Madden Coach or whatever they call it, head coach, and then they gave an extras disc, or bonus disc. I didn't even look at the bonus disc. I've never taken that out of the case. And then the right hand side, as you flipped it open, they basically listed all the different Madden stuff that came out over the years. Unfortunately, again, image is a little shaky, so it's a little fuzzy. And it basically just starts with, the John Madden game at the top and then lists everything through whatever. They did the same thing with FIFA and Football Manager. Probably. So, there's that stuff. And yeah, that's it. So, that was the first and the last Madden game I bought. Again, first one back in like June or July of '88. Second one in 2009, whenever that came out, the collector's edition. That's the last one I bought. And why? Because even at that point, Madden was just doing incremental changes, from year to year. It was all they're really doing is doing roster updates and little tech upgrades here and there. Nothing really significant changes. Although there were changes introduced over the years, the things they've added more and more stuff. But if you're just it's a lot of the changes aren't worth the money they're charging from year to year. So that's the main reason why I stopped playing it. So yeah. Non-U.S. heathens. Who is Madden? Oh, okay. John Madden. John Madden was a head football coach for the Oakland Raiders back in the 1970s. I think
Hello everyone.
Oops, let's let Veronica do her thing.
My name is Veronica and welcome to Gimpy's Twitch channel. If you are enjoying what you are watching, please click the follow button in the lower right corner of the video screen. That way you will be notified by Twitch when Gimpy goes live. You can also follow Gimpy over on Twitter at GimpyKnee. He tweets out there when he goes live and will more than likely follow you back. Thank you for watching.
Yep, thank you for watching. Happy Thursday. So John Madden again was a head football coach for the Oakland Raiders back in the 1970s. He took them to win one Super Bowl, as far as I know. I'm not real big on his career as a football coach because as a football coach, he wasn't that awesome, I guess. I mean, he's not considered one of the best of all time as far as head coaches go because, again, he, like I said, he only won like one, maybe two Super Bowls, so that doesn't put him into the ranks of, say, uh, of the coaches to follow him or to preceded him. Again, he wasn't that good as far as a coach goes. But where he became famous was after he retired, and back in the I want to say early mid '80s, somewhere around there. There was a shakeup in the TV networks as far as who had contracts for the NFL to do the games and stuff. And because originally it was ABC did Monday Night Football, and then CBS and NBC did Sundays. And I think NBC had the AFC, which is the American Football Conference, and CBS did the National Football Conference. And then something happened. Fox came into the scene, and with their popularity in the 80s, thanks to Married with Children and The Simpsons, that kind of stuff, they came into a big influx of money and was able to outbid, I believe it was CBS at first, I think, if I remember right. And so they got the contract for the NFC games. And one of the first announcers, the big announcer they brought in was John Madden. His career was 112, 39, 7. So not a great career. Best winning record possibly. He kept running into the Steelers. It's those 7 ties though. That's the killer. That's not that great of a record, in all honesty. I mean, that's not that long of a career either. I mean, I'm not saying he's a horrible coach. I don't put him up there in the top with say Lombardi and Shula and the other coaches from the 80s and 90s and 2000s. Yeah. Somewhere record. Yeah, but who has the trophy named after him? Yes, he became basically a TV celebrity type deal. Like I said, when Fox got their contract, he became like the biggest color announcer. For those of you not familiar with how sports announcing is done, usually for baseball and football and whatever, they have 2 guys. You have your play-by-play guy and you have your color guy. The play-by-play does the obvious, it's 1st and 10, blah, 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 whatever. Then you have a color guy who is like just filling in the fluff. That's what Madden did, and he was good at it. He was the first to win it. Right. Didn't he win the most championships at the time? I think Lombardi won a couple of championships there. But anyway, Madden, again, not a horrible coach, not the greatest coach, blah, blah. You can make all your mark or what you want. It's the way it is. And as an announcer, though, he basically revolutionized the way color commentating came into sports, right? He wasn't the first one to be a color commentator or necessarily the best one at the time. Well, at the time, actually, he was the best. But before him, there was other guys who did kind of the same stuff, but they didn't do it quite as well as he did. And it wasn't because he was very insightful about what he was saying. He was actually very average in his analysis as a color commentator. His big thing was his presentation. We'll just say his presentation. But anyway, that's what made him famous, and really famous at least. And that's actually why they went after him for this football game. And yeah, it was his style. It was all about how he presented things. Like he was really the first one who put an oomph into his analysis, because usually the color guys were going, okay, this guy went to whatever college and did this, and this, and this is what they've been doing since, that kind of stuff. It's really kind of boring for most color guys. Announcers are kind of boring, but he put a little bit more into it, I guess, or it's his personality that came through a little bit more. He was probably the one that made the telestrator more famous Because if you're not familiar with a telestrator is when they take their little light pens and they draw on the screen to show what's going on, that kind of stuff. And he kind of went crazy with it sometimes. And as a result, again, he would make sense, and he would say insightful things like, or he'd be asked like, what do so and so need to do to win this game, and he would come up with something insightful like, they need to score more points than their opponent. Good job, John. Thanks for the insight. He's also infamous for doing the when they do like Thanksgiving games on Thursdays and stuff, and they did these. They would do like the player of the game type stuff, and they would give the people or the player like a turkey leg or something like that. They bake up this turkey because it's Thanksgiving, and they actually give the turkey to the MVP, that kind of stuff, or whatever, or at least his player of the game. And eventually, it turned to, from getting a turkey leg to getting the whole turkey, to they actually made up the turducken. A turducken is when you take a chicken, you stuff it into a duck, and you stuff the tuck into a turkey. And that's where he came up with that. So, or at least somebody came up with that, and he was, responsible for giving that thing and stuff. Yeah, a turducken. Turkey, duck, chicken. It's a chicken. It's a roasted chicken or baked chicken stuffed into a roasted turkey, or sorry, a roasted duck that's stuffed into a roasted or baked turkey. Turducken. Basically, you take turkey, duck, and chicken, combine the three words. Turducken. And then it turned into, by the end, I think it was some fucking crazy creature that had like 6 or 8 drumsticks on it. I don't know what the hell they did with it. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. And the bacon wrapping. Well, was the bacon wrapping as part of, was that a Madden thing or not? I don't know. It got crazy over the years. Because again, he started like in the mid to late 80s as the announcer. And he was he was an announcer for Fox for how long? 15, 20 years, I think, something like that. I don't know how long he was doing it, but he was in it for a long time. I don't remember when he actually retired. So yeah. Heart attack on a plate, yes. So anyway, so that's John Madden. And again, he was he got this deal because of his personality. It wasn't because it wasn't because he was the greatest coach of the time. I mean, he didn't have Shula's reputation for the undefeated season. Lombardi was, of course, the first big NFL coach. That's why the trophy's named after him. That kind of stuff. But from that era, he had the most personality, because there's videos of him, screaming and stuff on the sidelines and all this other fun stuff. Although he wasn't the only coach who did that. He was just the one that got the biggest reputation, probably because of the Raiders more than anything else. Because the Raiders were known as being a dirty team. They always have been, kind of. They play dirty, just get stretch the rules a little bit, that kind of stuff. Have rules invented just because of their behaviors, that kind of thing. And I think because he was the head coach at the time, it's got him more attention. Again, just the way it works, right? So there we go. Any other questions? All right. If you aren't cheating, you aren't trying. Yeah. Again, that's how losers play. Just saying. That's what losers say and play. Okay. Let's get started. There we go.